What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Wednesday, August 5th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, let's take a look at this 6-game main slate. At point guard, I like Chris Paul from the Oklahoma City Thunder playing the LA Lakers, who have a good defense overall, but they're only middle of the pack defending opposing point guards. Chris Paul has averaged 36.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 24% usage rate. He's projected at 37.7 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.2 times value. He's 7,300 FanDuel salary and 600 more on DraftKings. So I like Chris Paul here versus the LA Lakers. Okay, here's a value play at point guard for you. He's a little bit risky. Well, he's a lot risky. But if you're going in one of those big GPPs, you're going to need to take some risk because he's going to be low owned here. His price is still pretty low. And if this guy gets near 30 minutes, he's got some major upside. So I like Markelle Fultz from the Orlando Magic playing the Toronto Raptors, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, and they've been pretty good versus opposing point guards. Markelle Fultz has averaged 25.8 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 28 minutes per game with a 21% usage rate. He's projected at 24.1 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.2 times value. He's 4,600 FanDuel salary and 200 more on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 222.5 points scored in this game, so I like Markelle Fultz here versus the Toronto Raptors. Okay, who do we have at the shooting guard position? I like Donovan Mitchell from the Utah Jazz playing the Memphis Grizzlies, who have the 9th worst defense overall, and they give up the 5th most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards. Donovan Mitchell has averaged 36.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 31% usage rate. He's projected at 36.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5 times value. He's 7,300 FanDuel salary and 200 more on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 224 points scored in this game, so I like Donovan Mitchell here versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Okay, here's a value play for you here at the shooting guard position. This is a FanDuel value play only. I like Garrett Temple from the Brooklyn Nets playing the Boston Celtics, who have a good defense overall, and they've been middle of the pack defending opposing shooting guards. Garrett Temple has averaged 21 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 28 minutes per game with a 17% usage rate. He's projected at 20.3 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.5 times value. He scored 37 fantasy points in 26 minutes last game, and he's only 3,700 FanDuel salary. He is 2,100 more on DraftKings, so I'm not sure if I'd go there on DraftKings, but I like Garrett Temple here versus the Boston Celtics. Okay, who do we have at the small forward position? I like Pascal Siakam from the Toronto Raptors playing the Orlando Magic, who have a good defense overall, but they give up the 10th most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Pascal Siakam has averaged 41.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 36 minutes per game with a 28% usage rate. He's projected at 42.5 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.4 times value. He's 7,900 FanDuel salary and 900 more on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 222 points scored in this game, so I like Pascal Siakam here versus the Orlando Magic. Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, and a value play for you. Well, this is a FanDuel value play. I like OG Anunoby from the Toronto Raptors playing the Orlando Magic, who have a good defense overall. They've been middle of the pack defending opposing small forwards. OG Anunoby has averaged 24.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 15% usage rate. He's projected at 26.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's 6 times value. He's 4,400 FanDuel salary and 1,100 more on DraftKings. So we know Vegas thinks there's going to be 222 points scored in this game. So I like OG Anunoby here versus the Orlando Magic. Okay, who do we have at the power forward position? I like Anthony Davis from the LA Lakers playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have a good defense overall, and they've been middle of the pack defending opposing power forwards. Anthony Davis has averaged 52 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 30% usage rate. He's projected at 53.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. He's 10,500 FanDuel salary and 200 less on DraftKings. He put up a monster 73 fantasy points in 38 minutes last game with a 40% usage rate. He can give that to you any night. So he's always on the radar. So I like Anthony Davis here versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay, now a nice mid-range play here at the power forward position. I like Paul Millsap from the Denver Nuggets playing the San Antonio Spurs, who have the 8th worst defense overall, and they give up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Paul Millsap has averaged 24.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 25 minutes per game with a 20% usage rate. Take a look at his last 3 games. He's played 34, 28, and 33 minutes, scoring 29, 21, and 30 fantasy points. So the minutes are there, and he's projected at 26.7 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.6 times value. He's 4,800 FanDuel salary and 300 more on DraftKings. So I like Paul Millsap here versus the San Antonio Spurs. Okay, moving on to the center position. I like Rudy Gobert from the Utah Jazz playing the Memphis Grizzlies, who have the 9th worst defense overall, and they're middle of the pack defending opposing centers. Rudy Gobert has averaged 39.8 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 16% usage rate. He's projected at 38.8 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.2 times value. He's 7,500 FanDuel salary and 200 less on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 224 points scored in this game, so I like Rudy Gobert here versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Okay, and a value play for you here at the center position. I like Marc Gasol from the Toronto Raptors playing the Orlando Magic. So the Magic have a good defense overall. They've been good versus opposing centers, but Marc Gasol has averaged 23.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 27 minutes per game with a 13% usage rate. Now you can see he hasn't hit his average in the last 2 games. he's been playing a little bit under his average minutes per game, about 3 or 5 minutes under average. So if he can get a few more minutes here, he should be able to hit this no problem. He's projected at 21 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5 times value. He's $4,200 FanDuel salary and the same price on FanDuel. And we know Vegas thinks there's going to be 222 points scored in this game. So I like Marc Gasol here versus the Orlando Magic. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.